I'm speaking with Troy Vosseller from the Generator Accelerator, which is also putting up the OnRamp Retail Conference. Hi, Troy. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you. Can you tell us what the Generator is and
Yeah,
what is the OnRamp conference?
yeah, you bet. So, at our core, Generator is a startup accelerator. We are a for-profit venture fund that invests in early stage startup, primarily technology companies across all different industries and with all different business models. We've been doing and running Generator for about the past 4 years. And in that time, we've completed 8 cohorts. We've invested in 42 companies. Combined, those 42 companies have gone on to raise more than $100 million in follow-on financing. And we've been nationally ranked amongst the top 15 accelerator programs in the United States. I should also point out that we run programs currently in Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin, and we also recently expanded into Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we'll be running a program there very soon.
Great. So you're based in Milwaukee?
Yes.
Is there like a main corporate sponsor that has helped set this up, or?
Yeah, so we Generator was started by a group of individuals who had a shared vision, a shared passion for wanting to help early stage entrepreneurs really be able to more efficiently go from idea to growing their company to raising venture capital and so forth. So we saw the accelerator model as a means to really facilitate that, and by that I mean putting companies through a cohort. So there's a beginning and an end to each program. Each program lasts for 3 months. And we limit that, so it's highly selective. So we only invest in 5 companies per cohort, and we take a very concierge approach. So giving all those 5 companies our time, energy, and attention. And during that 3-month program, we're connecting them with mentors, potential customers, our corporate partners, as well as potential investors. Now, you asked about the corporate partnership. Soon after we started Generator, we started working with American Family Insurance, who remains our premier program sponsor. And in addition to American Family Insurance being headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin, which is where we have a program each year, they also started a corporate venture arm called American Family Ventures. And so they were very interested in getting plugged into the startup ecosystem and also encouraging the growth of that startup ecosystem, not only in Wisconsin, but throughout the country. And so we started working with American Family. Shortly thereafter, more and more corporations were coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, we're interested in creating our own internal innovation division. We're interested in creating our own corporate venture capital fund. Is that something you guys can help me with? Or, we want to interact more with startups on the corporate level. And so we started getting more and more of those corporations, companies like Harley Davidson, Kohl's, US Cellular, Schneider Trucking, Northwestern Mutual, and a host of others. And so what we thought would be a great idea is how could we better connect these corporations who are looking for new innovations or possible investment opportunities with emerging startups, with early stage technology startups. And so that was really the genesis for the OnRamp concept, the OnRamp line of programming. So about 2 years ago, we said, let's create an event where we'd rent out a stadium. So we rented out we've done on-ramp events at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the BMO Harris Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, and Soldier Field in Chicago. So at these events, we rent out a stadium. Each of the participating corporations got their own suite, their own luxury box, and then we would go out and recruit and solicit startups to apply to OnRamp for the opportunity to pitch one-on-one with those participating corporations. And the purpose of the pitch was to either strike a customer-vendor relationship, a strategic partnership, maybe a direct investment, or just to simply get feedback on how you're pitching to an enterprise customer. But really the focus was around that revenue activity. How can we get corporations purchasing from startups or striking partnerships with startups? So these events started 2 years ago. They were industry agnostic. But we had a ton of success with them. The startups really loved the format. The corporations loved the format. And so from that, we wanted to expand on it. And so this past spring, we decided to make OnRamp industry-specific, vertical-specific. And our first industry was insurance. So we had the OnRamp Insurance Conference this past spring at Soldier Field in Chicago, and it was a huge success. We had over 400 attendees, 30 plus of the top insurance companies who all sent their corporate venture capital and corporate innovation teams. And we had over 70 startups who were selected, mutually selected by the corporations to have one-on-one pitch meetings. In addition to that corporation startup pitch format, we also added a full day of conference programming. So keynote speaker, panel discussions, fireside chats, things of that nature, all focused on the insurance and insurance startup industry. So we had a huge success with that, and we wanted to continue to expand that product line to another industry. And so for our next OnRamp program, which is coming up on October 11th, it's focused on retail. So it's the OnRamp Retail Conference, focusing on retail and e-commerce, happening October 11th at Soldier Field in Chicago. And again, we'll have that same format where startups, we had over 200 startups apply to pitch to the various participating corporations, companies like Kohl's and Target and Walgreens and Harley Davidson and BP. So big companies that were interested in meeting with these startups. In addition, we're going to have a full day of conference programming. So for instance, we have the CIO of Walgreens, the CTO of Harley Davidson and Kohl's, the founder and CEO of CB Insights giving the keynote speech. So a lot of great insightful panels, a lot of great insightful fireside chats, a great keynote, in addition to that full day of one-on-one curated pitch meetings between corporations and startups.
Great. Well, I mean, this is I'm really happy to learn about people doing these things for retail, because we are retail is a huge industry, and I don't think it's getting its fair share of attention on conferences, and actually specifically to retail tech.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see this and look forward to be there next week. So the startups have already been selected that are going to be attending, correct?
Correct. We're actually communicating the matches that were made between the startups and corporations this afternoon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the stage of these startups at this conference is?
Yeah. So most of them are venture backed. So they tend to be either a Series A or Series B backed company. But we encourage startups of all stages to apply. So that could be a later stage startup or just an early stage startup that maybe even is pre-revenue but has a really compelling new technology, or they've just started a company, or maybe they just raised a seed round and they're interested in having these very intimate one-on-one conversations with retailers that hopefully they could become a vendor to or form some sort of strategic partnership with.
Okay, so in order to attend the conference, they don't have to have gone through the generator program,
No, not at
right?
all. Yeah, so
Okay.
this is open to all startups. By all means, this is just a line of programming that we at Generator want to put on because, again, having worked with 42 startups that have gone through Generator, the thing we saw most that could benefit our startups was how could we better connect corporations with startups. And so we created the OnRamp conference series to address that need and made it open to all corporations and all startups.
So even if somebody is not, formally selected to be pitching, I think it's still a good idea for them to attend and get to
Definitely.
know
Yep.
people. And
So we have a great lineup of speakers and panelists and attendees, especially. So even for those startups that either are just learning about the conference now and they were unable to apply, or perhaps they weren't selected for this go around, we still would love to have entrepreneurs and startups come out and attend the conference just for an opportunity to meet all these great corporations that'll be there in attendance. And hopefully you can go hustle and get some one-on-one time and find a way to pitch yourself regardless.
right, right. I mean, networking, that's the key for startups, especially the founders and CEOs. So, what about as far as the actual location? I mean, it's very interesting that you've selected to be in a football. This is
Yeah.
very unique. Do you find that that actually adds to the success and the excitement?
Definitely. Yeah, we want to make this a really amazing event for both the corporations, the corporate executives, as well as the startups and the entrepreneurs who are attending. And so the football stadium format has worked really well for us. Like I mentioned, we've held it in other stadiums, and this is our second time doing it at Soldier Field in Chicago. It's a beautiful venue. It's very rare that you get to be in a stadium like this when a game or a concert is not going on. So it's a really neat feeling in that regard. And then the infrastructure works really well. So each of the participating corporations has their own suite to take these one-on-one curated pitch meetings with startups. So it provides a really nice intimate venue for that meeting to take place. And also in terms of the catering services, in terms of the large areas for the keynote speaker and the panelists to take place, all that infrastructure is really baked in when we do it at these stadiums. And obviously capacity is never an issue.
Right, right. And I also noticed that you have a very interesting app that's designed for the conference.
Yeah.
to
So
help
we just
people network.
Yeah, so we just launched our guidebook app. So all the attendees are able to download that app for free. You enter the code via email, and then you can create your own profile or connect it to your own LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever account you'd like to connect with. You can search for other attendees that have registered on the app as well. You can message them from there. You can see the conference agenda. You can see profiles of the speakers. So it's really a way to better network with all the attendees.
Great. Well, I think this is a very interesting conference. I really hope that anybody that can make it. It's only one day, and sounds like it's going to be jam-packed with really good networking and information. So I hope people can actually make it.
Absolutely.
Thank
Well,
you
thanks
very
for
much.
having me.
Look forward to meeting you next week.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.